Welcome to the Germinate Podcast, where agriculture, business, and innovation take root and thrive. I'm Joe Sampson, and with nearly 2 decades of experience in agricultural equipment and scaling businesses, I'm here to bring you actionable insights, inspiring stories, and strategic advice. Whether you're an industry veteran or just starting out, this podcast is your guide to cultivating ideas, expanding your knowledge, and growing your venture. So let's get started and germinate your path to success. This episode is brought to you by Haven Steel, one of the newest supporters we have here on the Germinate Podcast, and we couldn't be more grateful to have them on board. They are specialty heat treaters who've mastered the art of steel form products built to last longer and deliver the kind of durability manufacturers depend on. They support businesses throughout the globe with American-made reliability, but really here's what I appreciate the most about Haven. They're genuinely great people first. Owner Ken Brown and his team carry a purpose and a drive that's rare in today's business world. They don't just work hard on their 2 plants in Haven, Kansas and McKinsey, Tennessee. They care. They put their customers first, they show up when it matters, and they stand behind every product they manufacture. So if you manufacture agricultural equipment or distribute heat-treated components, Haven Steel is the only name you need to call. And I'll say this, Haven Steel is up to something special. They are investing, expanding, and stepping into a new chapter that's going to get this industry's attention. So stay tuned, everyone. Keep your eye on Haven Steel and learn more at havensteel.com, HAVENSTEEL.com. Welcome back to the Germinate Podcast. We're approaching close to 60. I can't remember the exact number, but we're getting there, man. We're getting there. So, thank you all for coming along for the ride. Let's see. Let's get some quick promos out of the way first. First, want to thank the sponsors for joining the show. They'll be running throughout the episode, so thank you for them. Also, you know, I got to do this. Click subscribe, click follow. That stuff really, it sounds cheesy, but it really does help. We're going to talk probably a little bit about that today, building a brand and how that happens. And we've got a fantastic guest on the episode today. Probably some of you guys know Dan, but Dan Schultz, you and I met over probably LinkedIn, I'm guessing.
Yes. I think it was LinkedIn. That's right.
Is that how it happened?
That's right. Yeah.
Well, welcome, man. Thanks for joining us.
Man, thanks for having me. This is exciting. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. And I got beard envy a little bit. I think yours is way less gray than mine. Less.
There is gray in it, but I have the camera filter set so you can't tell.
Oh, you son of a! I see.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Although I see the guys out there with like jet black beards or jet brown, and I'm like, come on, man, there's no way.
Yeah, it's fake. It's fake.
There's zero chance that's you.
Yeah. You're putting something in there.
I can't get on board with that. But the gray ones are all. I apologize for those that are watching on YouTube. I should have said that a long time ago in episode 1. Like, it sucks. You got to look at this mug, but it is what it is. So anyway, beard envy. But Dan, for those that don't know you, you've got a huge following. But of those that don't know you, tell everybody about you, your business, what it is you do, and then I want to read something that you wrote because you do things differently for sure. So fire away.
Yeah. So I work in agricultural marketing. So we help companies to think differently about the way that they go to market with their products. And what I mean by that is, generally speaking, there's a problem with the way that we approach marketing in agriculture. And the problem is that, generally speaking, marketing is a arts and crafts function in ag. It is the sales teams. It is an outpouring of the sales team. And like, I love salespeople, first off, right? Like, and nobody's going to believe that because nobody ever believes that the sales and marketing people love each other, but I really do. And I have a lot of empathy. I carry a number, right, as the head of my agency. And so I understand what it's like to carry a bag. I understand what it's like to go out onto the field and get rejected over and over again. Like, I get that.
Yep.
And so understanding that and knowing that, I think looking at what most marketing is, what most marketing does, and what the value that it actually delivers. The problem, generally speaking, is that, and we can get into this later, but just to outline it in broad strokes, I think the big problem is most marketing people are temperamentally wired to really want to be liked, and most salespeople are temperamentally wired to want to work with people who they respect. And those two things are very different. The way that you the way that you actually approach the work that you do, the way that you deliver that product, the way you present what you're doing, those things, those are two different activities. And because of that, we end up in a world where sales and marketing people talk past each other, and then all of a sudden the numbers aren't going in the right direction, and everybody starts pointing fingers, and you get the classic story of it's your fault. We're not, these ads aren't doing anything. They're not delivering. Or the marketing people turn back to the salespeople and say, what is it that you do here? And
Yeah.
and it's not good. It's not good. And so what we exist to do is to help marketing people do work that gets them respect inside the organization for the purpose of helping to drive real sales conversations, real sales engagements, and close real business to grow the bottom line of their business. And we do that through a process called category design, which we can talk a little bit more about as well, but that helps us to differentiate ourselves in the agricultural market.
It's kind of a no-brainer concept. You work with the marketing team to generate revenue and generate sales. It's like, isn't that the point of a business anyways, right?
Yeah, except that a lot of the agencies that exist today exist to win awards.
Oh,
And
dude.
that's
Yeah.
evident by the work that they do and the emphasis that they put on it, right? Like I don't want you to tell me that my ad is interesting. I don't want you to tell me that it's creative. I want you to go buy the product that I'm selling you.
Yeah. And, I live in kind of not a major market, but Des Moines, Iowa it's not Chicago or New York, but there's ad agencies galore here, and
Totally.
there's ad agencies galore everywhere. Talk about the evolution of the ad agency of, maybe 2010 versus the ad agency today.
Yeah, well, I think first I want to take a step back and look at the whole market, because
Yeah.
we are not the dog, we are the tail that is wagged.
Okay. Okay.
The marketing agency is a response to the rest of the market, and so the way that as the market goes, so goes the marketing agency, and that's just true. That's true of agriculture broadly speaking too,
Uh-huh.
but because we're a major part of the economy, but a small part of the economy. And so if we take a step back and look at like what the evolution of the economy has been over the last 200 years, 150, 200 years. If you go back to 1840, from 1840 to roughly 2000, the main way of creating value in the economy was mass production and mass distribution. How do we create something? How do we create as much of it as we can, and how do
Uh-huh.
we get it to where it needs to go? So that's you saw the evolution of, right, the Ford Motor Company, because the plant at River Rouge is a really good example of this. It's just the most obvious. They had at one end raw materials going in, other end you had a Model T coming out, and on that side you had the distribution mechanisms for getting those Model Ts to where they needed to go.
Yep.
From Detroit all the way across the country, and that is the model that we have assumed for years and years and years. And it created large companies, large organizations that were very matrixed and there were lots of hierarchy inside of them. And something happened. It started in like the 1970s, but really started to see it in the market in the 2000s, where the main modes of value creation in the market became mass computation. So what can I do at the edge?
Uh-huh.
And then mass network, like how can I connect, mass connectivity. So how can I network? How can I connect with different nodes on this network? What can I do in this location that I can't do anywhere else? What's different about this place? And how can this place connect to this place? Because I mean, you and I we're relatively close based on, I'm here in Minnesota, southern Minnesota, and you're in Iowa, but we are having a conversation that wouldn't be taking place in a normal world because we're still a few hours apart. And I mean, we have clients in Israel, we have clients in Australia, we have clients in Brazil, we have clients all over the place. And working with each one of those clients, what I've come to understand is that there's an opportunity to do something unique at the edge. There's something unique about the competitive advantage that we have as an organization, as an industry, but then how do we then connect to the rest of the world and use that connectivity to help us grow and scale our businesses? And so it's not about these brittle organizations. And so to go fast forward to your actual question, which was about marketing agencies traditionally have been these really large Madison Avenue groups,
Uh-huh.
because something that happened there was, okay, Madison Avenue became the place to go for marketing services, advertising services, and then marketing services as you look at the evolution of that. Um, the those agencies were so big and so brittle and so highly matrixed that the world now, like if you were to go back to them, they would not be adding enough value to your business today, just because they wouldn't be doing enough for you. So obviously, the ones that have lived, you think of like Ogilvy, you think of a lot of these agencies that have been around for since that time. They've really changed the way that they approach delivering value for their clients. But at the same time, I think the agency world has become much less focused on how big are you, and much more focused on what value can we deliver, what unique differentiators can we deliver. And the problem that I see in the agency world a lot, because I interface a lot with agencies, I've been inside of agencies. That's how actually our business got started, was we were working as I worked as a consultant with agencies in the industry. They will do something. I consider the original sin of the agency to ask what the client wants and then deliver that exactly.
Okay.
Whereas, and that sounds crazy, because it
Right.
sounds like exactly what you should do. But the problem it becomes when the rubber meets the road there. In most cases, when that conversation's happening, when the individual is engaging with their agency, and say you're in a meeting with the CEO, and that person asks the question, what should we do here? How should we talk about this product? The first reaction of your most agency people is going to be, why don't you tell me what you think first? And then
Sure.
I'll tell you whether I agree with your idea or not. And then you'll get some form of, well, here's what we heard from you, and then deliver the product.
Of
And
course. Yeah.
there's not a value add in there. What we need more than that, because in this world of AI slop, in this world of you can go make a video right now, a 60-second video that's pretty darn good, and you can put your product into it. It's mind blowing. I mean, like
It's crazy.
I've seen
Yeah.
people do these things that are crazy, but people are becoming dulled to good quality work. The most dangerous thing you can do as an agency today is really good work. And that sounds crazy. It sounds like exactly what you should do. We really want to meet spec. We really want to do exactly what
Yeah.
the market is
We
expecting
want
us
to
to do.
deliver on this scope of work or whatever. Yep. Exactly.
Totally.
Yep.
And it's exactly the wrong thing to do. What we need to do is we need to deliver something unexpected, and that adds actual value to the business that we're serving. And so it's the unexpected thing that helps to set an agency apart, that helps to set this is true of a consultant. This is true of a sales rep. This is true of everybody in the market today, because I can write you 700 different emails in 15 minutes.
Exactly.
AI will pop out these emails, but if I can't what the human element is, can I do something that's unexpected? Because what the AI is not going to do is not going to deliver you something unexpected. It's not going to deliver something that actually creates value for you. So there's the thing that I talk about with our team all the time is the way we try to think about this. Are you familiar with a fermata in music? It's like this O-shaped sign. Well, the fermata says you can hold for as long as you want to. So it basically puts takes the execution of the music from the writer of that sheet to the conductor, to say,
Okay.
how long are we going to hold this pause?
The A
for?
note or the D note or the whatever. Yeah.
The
I
pause,
gotcha.
and the pause, like
The pause. You're okay.
the
I gotcha.
pause. Yeah. It's the pause. So it's like, how long are we going to pause before we continue playing again? And the pause is kind of everything. The reason that you go listen to certain orchestra directors, like I don't know very much about this, but I know enough to be dangerous, so I'm going to talk about it, is the reason that you go listen to certain orchestra directors is because of the pause. It's not because of how well the notes are played. Like I can go out right now, and Joe Rogan has showed this on his show before. Like there's great music coming out of AI. Like AI can deliver really good music. What AI is not going to do, it's not going to play with the fermata, because the note is going to be hit perfectly. And so the question is, can we deliver? What are we going to do? Like we all have the same level of tools. We all have this, like that's not really our asymmetric advantage anymore to talk about like, oh, I have this creative person that nobody else has, or this designer that nobody else has. The designer is only valuable if they can put a unique spin on it, not if they can meet the spec better. And so there's something inside of that means like we have to fall back in love with the human element. And there is what we've seen. I have evidence of this at a financial level
Sure.
for our clients, that the human element and the human element of creation and value creation inside of like what we're going to do with the tools that we all have access to, um, that does pay dividends because people connect with that better. Because people are starving for connection. Because you have this weird world where AI is writing to AI. Like imagine that you and I are writing emails back and forth to each other. We're both throwing them inside ChatGPT. You're talking to your AI and my AI is talking
We're
to
not
you.
really talking to each
We're
other.
not having a
No.
conversation anymore. It's like
No.
it's just and like I'm not like an anti burden the I'm not
Yeah, but you're seeing the future. You're seeing where this could possibly go, where
Yes.
we're all basically robots in the
Yeah.
end. And we've lost that. I think you're talking about that nuance. Like
Yes.
where's the individuality or the nuance? And that's what everybody loves about each other, really, in the end, is
Exactly.
that I like what you say, the fermata. Is that
Yeah, it's the fermata.
the
Yeah.
fermata? Where's the fermata in everybody? Where's that uniqueness, that nuance?
Where's the pause? And there's a great line in there's a book called The Dylan Goes Electric. I'm like huge Bob Dylan nerd.
Yeah, folks, he's a reader, man. You gave me like 5 suggestions in our last conversation, and I don't worry, I haven't read them all, but I'm picking them up on them all. So yeah,
Awesome.
I love it. So
Awesome. Yeah, so there's Dylan Goes Electric and I'm gonna totally forget the name of the person who was talking, but he's talking about early Bob Dylan. Like what was interesting about him? Why was he more talented than all these other people? Like that whole there was all the new music down in New York at that time. The folk scene was huge. And what was different about him was that he was like compelling from the stage. He was obviously terrified, a super young kid.
yep.
Like they write this, like he's super terrified. He looks uncomfortable on stage, but you can't take your eyes off him. And that's what you have to have like a certain level of gravitas. And I think that we've lost that as brands. We've lost the idea of like um because of this like hustle culture, like, hey, let's post seven Instagram videos a day. A lot of
Yeah.
people really fell in love with like always on content. We've lost some of the gravitas, and I think we need to reinstate a lot of that. And there's another. I'm using music examples, but promise you, I'm not doing it on purpose. There's a story that Travis Tritt told when he was actually in an interview, and he was talking about Johnny Cash and like what made Johnny Cash great late in life. And he was telling the story. They were all at this like ballroom, all these superstars. So there's like egos everywhere, and they're all in this ballroom area. And all of a sudden, the ballroom goes silent, and Johnny Cash walks in with June, and they walk through and they shake a couple hands, and nobody's talking anymore. And they shake a couple hands and they leave. And he said he went to Johnny later, and he was like, "What is it like? What is it about you?" And he's like, "People have forgotten about like you need to keep part of yourself hidden. There needs to be some mystery." So brands need what we do too often as brands in agriculture in particular is we try to give you the whole Wikipedia page in one post, in one
Yeah.
like let's tell you the whole story because we may never get you again.
Our entire feature catalog blobbed out in one post. We
Totally.
do all these things and everyone's lost. Yeah, exactly.
We want to deliver the enough that gets you to say, tell me more. And if you don't say, tell me more, then I don't need to tell you more because you don't care yet. And I haven't given you a piece of the message that is relevant enough to make you care.
Yeah, somebody
So,
put it to me, and we're using all sorts of metaphors, but
yeah,
whatever. This is the way this thing goes. But I think it was the Grammys this year. There were all these artists that came out, and basically female artists, basically wearing nothing. Like they had no clothes on. And if you think back in the early days, the Sophia Lorens or even the Marilyn Monroes, they left a little to be desired. I don't know why I'm even thinking about this right now, but my point in saying is it's not attractive to just throw yourself out there in front of the world and let everybody see it. It's like that's not there's no mystery, there's no nuance behind that. Like you get what I'm saying?
I
I'm sort of
totally do.
relating. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I
Yeah.
totally do. I
Got it.
totally do. It's that we, and I think it's part of the idea of authenticity.
Sure.
So another thing that you're talking about there is like we because we have so little human connection now. So like what we talked about earlier, there's
Yep.
so little human connection happening. People are always like, you have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. You have to be your true self. And it's like, I mean, okay, that maybe, but like if your true self is a jerk, no, that's not like we're showing up in a professional environment. Like some
Yeah.
days, I mean, I have a 6 month or an 8 month old now. He doesn't sleep every night. Like so some days I feel kind of crabby in the morning, but
Right.
like I get up and I don't bring that to my client meetings
Of
because
course. Yeah.
because otherwise I'm not doing for them what they expect from me. I'm not delivering the result that I expect for myself to deliver to them either. And so instead of authenticity, what people really want is consistency, and they want something that makes them lean in, care more, creates tension, and then allows them to pursue this more. We want to as brands be pursued, not to be. We don't want to assault our customers. And
Yeah.
what you're describing, I would describe as a certain level of assault.
It is, and I think we're all becoming, and maybe it's because, you're significantly younger than me, but, we're roughly in the same generation, I'm guessing. I don't know how old you are, and it doesn't matter. The point is, when I grew up, we had a million different leadership books or, guideline books or a process for this or a 5-step plan for this or a 12-step plan, and sort of what's lost is the art behind who we are, what you get what like, well, wait a minute, there's not a I used to have, I came from a sales background, so a lot of people have asked me like, "Well, how did you get that customer? How'd you land that deal?" And I'm like, "There's not like a 12-step process. I can't write it down and write an SOP and then write a book and then make it happen." There's a little bit of art behind it. You have to use that nuance and that whatever that is that differentiates you, you know, and that's going away. We're all becoming the same person. Everybody's bald with a beard with a bunch of tattoos. I don't have tattoos, but the amount of people that look like me, and I've looked like this forever. I'm not saying I set the bar here. Sometimes you have no choice when you have
You're the
no hair.
trendsetter. You're a trendsetter.
Yeah, no, that's not the case. The point is we're becoming the same the CEO, at company X is the same CEO at company Y. They're all the same. They think they're different, but they're not. They're all becoming the same person. We're all using AI. We're all using the same steps. We're all reading the same leadership books, and I don't know, I'm asking your question. Is that sort of what you're
Dude,
seeing or
that is exactly what I'm saying, and you said it
okay.
very well. I think it's like we it bec in seeking authenticity, we are becoming emojis. We have become emojis because we have lost the capability to put depth and meaning into what we're actually trying to say. And there's a whole rabbit hole we could go down that, but I want to pick on one of the things that you said with the artistry thing. I think that is like one of the most important things that we need. If you're a professional inside the agricultural space, I don't care where you work, you need to do art. And what I mean by that is not painting, right? Like painting doesn't
No.
mean art, right? Like there are painters who are not artists; they're copiers. And artistry is an artist. The difference between an artist and what I would say is like a bureaucratic professional, maybe, is an artist sees a future, imagines a future, sees something that others don't see, um, and then is able to render into reality that that vision that they
Mhm.
had,
Mhm.
and is able to create something and then share it with others. And so that is what artistry is. And
It's a
that's
Bob
what,
Dylan song. That's what it is.
dude, total,
It's
total,
exactly
total,
what it is. I had Jason
100%.
Walsmith, who's the lead singer of a band called the Nadas.
Yeah.
They're a super popular band in Iowa, well, in the Midwest, been around for 30 years, and everyone's like, "Dude, you got an agricultural show. Why do you have a lead singer of a band on?" Because of this very thing. His process to write a song is no different than your process to market a product or
Yep.
market a or sell a campaign or build a product. how, the craftsmanships, the artistry on how you do it. It's all very unique for all of us, but if you can relay that, if you can write that song and have people actually want to hear it, dude, you've hit on something. You
Yes.
nailed it. It's golden.
Again, like back to perfect is the enemy. Perfect is the enemy because you're trying to meet a spec that somebody else set, that somebody else is, and that is in some way artificial. It's right. If you go back to Rene Girard, it's Girardian. It's we're trying to be on the hedonic treadmill to keep up with somebody else. It's this random thing. It's not different. That's what actually drives all the CEO behavior that you said. It's like all the CEOs are the same. Yeah, except for Elon Musk. Yeah, except for right, because, and I mean, not everybody wants to be Elon Musk, but like
We should all try to be, though. I
well,
mean,
you
he's
can be
doing
like
amazing
weird.
things.
Well,
Yeah,
he's weird. Like he's a weird dude,
he's an odd
and
dude.
he does weird things, and you can't stop watching. You
No,
can't stop. No, what you love him or you hate him. I know a lot of people because of the politics thing don't like him, but it's like if whether you love him or you hate him, you have to watch him. And he's so provocative and he's so interesting, and he demands to be he demands your attention. And that is actually another thing to talk about inside of this marketing world is um we don't think enough about the words that we use to describe things. So um pay attention, right? Like when we say pay attention, you are paying with your attention. And most people take that for granted. Most people on my side, in my side of the business, say, well, because I have budget, because I'm the agency, because I'm the one running this ad, because I created something that I think is good, I deserve your attention. I deserve you to pay me. Nothing else works in that way, though. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to do is I am trying to incite you to be curious enough to want to pay attention to me because there's something interesting. So what we should look at, you should run your company. This is for any marketing person out there, any marketing salesperson out there. You should run your business as a media, the part of your business as a media company trying to create actual value for the customers that you're serving, because we want to show, not tell, that our products are successful and that our products are delivering value for people. And if you can look at it as like, would you actually pay with your attention to this product? Would you actually pay? You know, people bristle at that a lot. Like, oh, do we have to become a media marketing company that also sells tractors? Oh, do we have to be a market? You don't want to frame it that way. And that's fine. That's not, I'm saying we want to be problem driven for our customer as an organization with a media element, emails that people want to get from us, not that are like, oh, I got another email from, AGCO or whatever.
Right.
And sorry,
Right.
not to rag on AGCO, but like, or I got another email from, whoever else. It's like, oh man, like I didn't want this email. I didn't want this in my inbox. It's like, no, you want it so that you send it every day or every 3 times a week. And when somebody doesn't get it delivered, they're like, where was that this week? Because like I value what you write and
Yeah.
what you put out
Yeah.
and the content that you create and deliver. And if it's missing, if nobody misses you when you're gone, right, to quote the great Jim Collins, like if nobody misses you when you're gone, then you don't have a reason for being.
I love it.
That's
To quote to quote the great Jim Collins.
yeah. That it was a misquote, to be clear,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
yes.
Well, and think about every brand out there. You don't really think about the product when you think about the brand. You
No.
think about like kind of how do they make you feel, and everybody from John Deere to even Tesla. It's like, does Tesla make the best electric vehicle on planet Earth? I mean, I don't really know, but they sure make you feel like it is.
Yeah.
They whatever they've done. Does John Deere make the best equipment on planet Earth? I don't know, but that's the that's the assumption that nothing runs like a Deere, and they've captured something in marketing to where you said something that triggered me. I hate that friggin' word, but that made me think. Like, we don't wanna be a company that sells tractors, a marketing company that sells tractors, but maybe I'd push back on that a little bit. I think that's kind of what you're saying is you have to think in that lens. You have to think in the lens of a media company these days because everybody's watching, everybody's on your phone, everybody's got an attention span of a frickin' gnat. So how do you capture that? What is it that they're looking
Sure.
at? What is it they wanna see? And I don't think a long laundry list of I'm the best at this, I do that, ROI is this, what is it? What is it that captures you? And all the good ones in Chick-fil-A, they don't do they have the best chicken sandwich? I don't know, but they sure make you feel good every time you drive through the drive-through, you know what I mean? It's something about it. Their
Yes.
customer experience is amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Every single person that you meet at Chick-fil-A is delightful to engage with. That's the other thing,
Fantastic.
is that
Yeah.
that they're so marketing is also, there's a great story that from, I think I read it in Rick Rubin's book biography. He has a story from John Wooden, the great basketball coach from
Sure.
UCLA, the UCLA days. And he says that John Wooden, every year when they would sit down when he would bring his new team in, so they'd start the season out, and he got some of the best players in the country, because this is UCLA at its
Right.
prime.
Yeah.
And so you've got these great players who are ready to prove themselves on the court. He would sit down and he would show them how he expected them to put on their socks and tie their shoes.
Yep.
And he would go through this whole thing, and he describes putting on this, making sure that there's no creases, because the creases cause blistering, and making sure that the shoes are tied, because I don't want shoes coming untied during practice, because then we lose moments during practice. So it's
Yep.
This is how you are to prepare, and this is how we create this culture. And the marketing is, the more and more I do it, and the longer I work in this industry, the more I realize that marketing is actually just as valuable for the internal team as it is for the external team, or external world, excuse me, because the internal team, we always talk about creating culture, and you get a lot of HR managers on talking about creating culture, and great, I'm all for that, fine. But
I'm getting a little sick of it though.
But your
A little-
HR, well, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
we're all we don't need to go down that path. You're gonna get in trouble,
right.
Joe. But
Yeah.
the HR manager is not creating a product that creates culture. They're trying to create a system that creates culture, and you need you do need the systems in place, but you also need to harken back to your other point. You need art on top of that. You need something to create that people actually believe in, that people can rally around, and that people can say, this is what we do, this is how we deliver, this is how we create value in the world. And if you can't do that, then all these conversations about culture, or creating culture
Right.
internally, it's it becomes opaque, and it just happens to be, well, it's because I got hired next to this person over here, and so now we're supposed to have this culture. The culture is what we do, and marketing is the value that we create. And so marketing is the culture creation device and department inside an organization. And the reason that we have bad cultures is because we have bad marketing departments.
I think you're spot on there. I think it's so true. Even the John Wooden example, or any business, it's if you're successful at what you're doing, the reason why John Wooden was able to say, put your socks on this way and tie your shoes this way, is because they won games. They won championships.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, if
And-
you told that story and they were at the bottom of the NCAA,
2-30, and it's not
you'd
going
be
to work.
all right, this guy's going to get fired.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I read a similar story about Kirk Ferentz. Sorry for the Iowa ties, but Kirk Ferentz, the Iowa football coach, the day you step on the Iowa campus as a 18, 19-year-old kid, when you step into a football meeting, you can't wear a hat or a hoodie. You can't cover your head.
I love that.
And, kids today, I have 2 teenagers, they always wear hats and hoodies. And they're the day one, they're like, screw you, coach. Who do you think you are? By day, whatever, their senior year, they're telling other kids, take your hat off,
Yeah.
put your hood.
Yeah.
And to me, it's they demand a level of respect, but now Iowa's they haven't won a national championship under Ferentz, but what they have done is put a lot of kids in the NFL, and more importantly,
Yes.
they've placed a lot of these players into really good jobs, and they're well-respected people in society. And that matters, man. And
Totally it
so
does. Totally it does.
people they love to win. You love to be people like to win and build momentum and start something and finish something more so than they like to read a process. That's why I'm picking on culture a little bit, because
Yeah.
more so than they like to read something from HR in an email that says, here's the 5 steps to have a good company culture. It's not how it works, man. You got to win. You got to get some wins under the belt. You got to
Yes.
win something.
You have to win something. There has to be a place where you're going, because you can you can steer a ship that's moving, but if you're just sitting there talking about bureaucratic processes and, well, we're draining cash and everybody knows it, you're going to have anarchy. That's when you get anarchy inside of an organization.
Whether or not you have a bunch of processes to try to fix that out, it doesn't matter. Exactly.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And everybody knows it doesn't ultimately matter. And that is what drives the behavior. Is like, we can go with the process, but at the end of the day, what's going to drive changes. And this is actually, Seth Godin has this great quote. He says that all of marketing can be summed up in, people like us do things like this. I love that quote. And I think about it all the time, because it's like, that is the creation of culture. So people like us do things like this. And you just described it with your Iowa example. When the freshmen are coming in, they're like, screw you, coach. I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested in doing this. And by the end, it is not being enforced by the coach at that point. It is being enforced by the other players who have bought into a way that this is the way that we act on this team. And if you don't take your hat off, we're going to take your head off. And like, I mean, nicely, I'm sure. But of course. But like, oh my goodness, that is what culture is. And that ought to be the way that our companies are work, because there has to be something bigger than, you're my boss and you told me so. Because of the way that our economy works now, because we need art and not compliance. So we have factored for compliance because of the mass production, mass distribution forces that we talked about at the beginning, because we assume those forces on the world, particularly in agriculture, by the way, we assume those forces on the world, that's what's going to create value. Like, if I can grow as many bushels as I can and ship it to wherever I can, I'll be all right. I'm going to make money. That's becoming less and less true every single day. And we're seeing that over and over again. I see that in my community here in Minnesota. I see that in every farming community that we work in. It's becoming less true at a global level. And what that means is that we need to reintroduce artistry into this and say, what are we going to do? How are we going to deliver a customer experience that's fundamentally different and serves a human in a way that a human wants to be served and delivers value to them? And like, we need to fall back in love with humanity. We need to re-engage in artistry inside of our jobs. And we need to understand that, like, we can have an exponential difference in the world and not just an incremental better.
Hey folks, let's pause the podcast for a second to talk about one of the companies making the Germinate podcast possible. Want to give a huge thanks to GBGI. Here's Mark Adams.
Thanks, Joe. At our shop in Chardon, Ohio, every part we build is made with precision. From the CNC machining to the final inspection, we don't rush because we know your customers can't afford failure. If you're a dealer or OEM who wants reliability built in, give us a look. GBGI, built to spec, built to last. Learn more at gbgiusa.com. GBGI, grow with us.
A exciting partner that we just brought on board. I don't partner with those that I don't believe in. And FEMA is a network that I've been a part of for almost 20 years, over 20 years, actually. And this episode is powered by the Farm Equipment Manufacturers Association. FEMA connects the entire ag equipment ecosystem, not just manufacturers and suppliers, but a wide range of partners who help this industry run, grow, and evolve. In today's world, building farm equipment takes a heck of a lot more than steel, tooling, and production lines. It takes the people and companies who support manufacturers and suppliers behind the scenes, the problem solvers, innovators, creators, integrators, service partners, all you strategic thinkers who help businesses operate smarter, communicate better, and push this industry forward. So whether you build equipment, support the people who build it, or you're a company that wants to plug into the industry in a meaningful way, FEMA is the network to do that. It opens doors. It's where relationships become opportunities, where collaboration creates momentum, and where the future of our industry is being shaped. So if you want to be part of FEMA, reach out to me or reach out to farmequip.org, FARMEQUIP.org, and connect with manufacturers and partners driving agriculture forward. FEMA, where the whole industry connects, grows, and moves together. www.farmequip.org. Shifting gears a little bit into the agricultural space here, since that's what, we're both in. But obviously I tell people all the time, I can relate anything to ag.
Totally.
I mean, I had a singer-songwriter on. I'm going to have more because I am a huge music fan, and I think they speak specifically to sales and marketing people in a way that you need to start listening again and stop following your stupid CRMs and your Salesforce. And not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't want to get nicked for, not fall, but CRMs should be a brag board maybe only, and not a big brother watching, and then get you in some serious. I've spent so much time with clients where literally we've had meetings for an hour about how to fill in a CRM. That's a waste of time, folks. You're wasting time. That's
Yeah.
not producing revenue. And I had one, I don't know, call it a viral post on LinkedIn where
Yeah.
I was talking about farm shows and the nature of why you're going to farm shows. And my stereotype is you go to a bunch of farm shows, you see people behind their booth on their phone, not talking to anybody. They're not trying to interact. They don't have a plan. It's just, I'm going to the Louisville Farm Show in Kentucky again for the 10th year in a row, and I'm going to post about it online. Hey, look, I'm here. All that is great, but it's so old school and so old fashioned, and it doesn't seem like it because you are posting something on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, but you're not moving the needle. And what's the plan to go to a farm show? Otherwise, what's the point of even going? And that's a synopsis of what it says, but what's your take on that? And to me, it's lumping everybody into the robotic thing again. We're all becoming the same person. Yep, I got to go to this show because everybody says I have to, and all my competitors are there, and blah blah blah. It's crazy,
Stupidest reason to spend money ever,
isn't it? And these are so expensive.
Well, I mean, it's the hedonic treadmill. It's. I mean, you go. This is Rene Girard, right? Like this is why the reason we do things is because other people are doing them, and we think like we have to do that. I had a CEO early in my career say to me, what we need to do from a marketing perspective is just find out what our competitors are doing and copy them. And you're like, well, but then aren't we doing the same thing as that? And it was like, yeah, but like at least we'll then be showing up where we're supposed to be. And like we've talked, the whole conversation thus far is like, we need to not be where we're supposed to be. We need to be, in a place where it's unexpected and we create unique value. And so the other thing about that you made me think of is like you said, going to the shows and posting on social media. Well, that's great. It's like, I don't think that's great. Actually, I think you're wasting an enormous amount of time.
Yeah,
and
me too.
There's an idea or concept in if you've ever worked in like a cafe or like a service restaurant type of thing, they call it like getting out the mop. The mop. If you get out the mop, it's the fastest way to clear the restaurant. It's the fastest way. You don't actually have to lock the doors or put a sign on that says closed. You take a chair, flip it upside down, and put it on top of another chair. Nobody will walk near the restaurant.
People leave. Yeah.
Nobody will go there. Yeah. And what you see at most trade shows is that people have the proverbial chair flipped. And because the people don't actually want to be there, for one thing. They aren't actually interested in the people that they're talking to. That's clear by the way that they've presented their materials, by the way that they had, some junior level person create a banner that looks fine, nice, whatever, but says nothing of value for the customer. Mm-hmm. It's clear based on the fact that they don't have a reason for being there. They're there because the company next door is there, and they think that if they don't show up, everyone's going to figure, man, this company's gone out of business. And it's like, no, that's the lie that keeps those trade shows in business. I think most trade shows should cease to exist. There's a few that are of value. Most of them are a total waste of money, a total waste of time, and we all know it. Like, right? Like, anytime I say this to people are like, yeah, and you're going to the trade show next week, aren't you? And everyone's like, yeah, we are. And it's like, well, what is happening there? Like, what's the there's a great story from an Amish community where this guy gets on this Amish guy. So the tourist bus is going through Pennsylvania somewhere. And the tourist buses, they're getting back out. They were visiting the Amish community. They now get back on the bus. And this Amish guy gets on the front of the bus and just is kind of looking at the whole crowd. And one of the guys goes, what's the difference between you and me? What's the difference between us? And the Amish guy says, how many people here think that TV is bad for your family? And almost everybody's hand goes up. Like, almost everybody's hand goes up and says, like, yeah, I think the TV's bad. He's like, are you going to go home and throw out your TV? And Nobody
No,
raises their
of
hand.
course not.
And he
Yeah.
says, that's the difference between you and me. And the difference between greatness, not just, I'm not like, this isn't like I'm not Amish, but,
Yeah.
but
Although we kind of look like it
yeah.
collectively. Yeah,
I'm
we
doing
have that look.
I'm doing my best
Yeah, if I had
impression.
the hat, I'd fit right in.
Doing my best impression here, but yeah.
And I
no,
love the Amish, by the way. The way
totally.
they think, they're fantastic. Yeah. Anyway,
But
fantastic.
the difference between, I tell that story for the purpose of the difference between greatness and intentions that fall flat is action and actually doing what you think. And if you don't do what you believe in, then you don't believe in anything. And therefore and then we have conversations about like, why is our culture so bad?
Yeah.
Why do we have people stabbing each other in the back? Why can't we figure out how to sell this product better? Why are profit margins down? Why can't we figure out sales? What's going on? And it's like, well, it's because you don't have anything you believe in, because every time you say you're going to do something, you don't actually do it. Because every time you give a presentation at the all hands meeting, nobody ever sees it manifest with the customer. They don't think that you mean what you say. And this is true of like raising children. I have 6 kids, and if I tell them something and then later go back on it, I know that I've left a mark on them that they will think. I've left the idea in their head that Dad's not going to actually do what he said he's going to do. And the same thing is true in a leadership role in a company. Obviously, it's a very different role, but inside that role, like if you don't do what you actually believe in, then you don't believe in anything. Like action shows me what you actually believe in.
And that's a lost art. I mean, it is
Totally
all
is.
about that action and all about where you at. I read What to Expect When You're Expecting. I told this story on the podcast before, but one of the lessons was when you have a baby, get down on the floor, get down on their level and actually get in their eyes, look at them, have a conversation, get on their level. And I think that's so true with raising kids even today. uh, you know, s- I'm picking a little bit on my generation of parenting, and I'm by no means perfect. My gosh, it's not easy. But one thing that is easy for me is to never avoid my kids, even when
Yeah,
sometimes I want to. I want to be like, oh my gosh, you're driving me crazy, or I'm driving them crazy. But avoiding them is not a strategy. It's not just gonna go away. Whatever problem you might have in your business or with your family or avoiding that and just walking away and leaving or traveling or, going somewhere else, that's not the problem's not going away. It's still there. You've gotta get down on their level and let's deal with this. Let's put this to bed
totally.
or let's have and I think a little bit of that is lost. It's like, you know, we live in a weird generation. I understand. I just interviewed a couple of kids graduated college and they're scared. They don't know what to do. They never know if they're going to be able to buy a house. I mean, all the things that we took for granted. It was like I wanted a house and a lawnmower and a garden hose and a dog and, it's the American dream, right? It's
Yes,
not that hard. And kids today are hard. They're complicated, but we gotta stop avoiding them because that's not gonna help any situation. I
yes.
don't know why I thought of that and why I even went
No,
there, but
I'm going to tie it back to an example of what from a business perspective, because um we had a pastor one time, actually our current pastor at the church that we go to said he made a statement that if you began to treat your child like it was not your child, like he or she was not your child, how long do you think it would take them to figure that out, that you didn't think that? And the answer is like not very long, right?
yeah,
Because like kids watch what you do. The same thing is true of our customers. Like how long we have there's a lot of latent animosity inside of our organizations for how stupid our customers are.
oh
And
gosh, dude, I know,
and and
it's
it's
crazy, isn't it?
bananas. It's
Yeah,
insane because you exist to serve this customer. I exist as a father to
100%,
serve my children.
100%.
And if I can't do that, if I'm not going to take the time to do that, then I have no business doing this. The same thing is true if you're inside an organization, leading an organization, and you're like, these customers, like, I can't believe like nobody sees what we see. I can't believe that nobody understands that our product is just better. It's the best product out there. And the fact that they don't see it means that they're stupid. And that is what you're saying in a lot of cases when you're having these conversations. It's never maybe it's
Yeah, it's
not
never coming
usually
out like
quite
that.
that bald, but like that's what we mean, right? Like that's what we mean. And And when you start saying things like that, very quickly your customer picks up on it and says like, this company doesn't like me. And that's been the problem for ag tech products, like overwhelmingly. And I've mainly worked in ag tech thus far.
Because there's so many features and benefits, and it's
Well,
is
no,
that
it's
why?
because the technologist believes that because they've built a better technology, then I should, then
How could you
the
not
customer
want
should
this?
respond.
Yeah,
Like
right.
the customer should be excited. Like
Yeah.
you are using this system that is so broken and so gross and so bad, and I built this beautiful thing that looks like it's fun to play with and it's fun
Yeah.
to use. And if you can't see the difference between these two things, then you're an idiot. And the fact of the matter is, like, they're not an idiot. They just aren't looking at what you're looking at. Because just because they have a different view than you do doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that it's different. And the question is, as we get paid money to take on the perspective of our customer to help them understand why our product is valuable. Like, that's why you get paid to show up and they don't get paid to show up for your company. Like, that's the difference between internal and external. Is we get paid to be responsible, to be consistent, and to put their cares and demands first, not like a toddler. We're not giving them anything they want, but in the way of like helping them get where we promised they would get to go if they joined us.
Well, it's yeah, you picked on something with the customers and almost hatred's the wrong word, but thinking they're stupid. Like you're
I,
stupid. You're
I do
not.
think
Yeah.
I don't know that hatred isn't the right word because hey, it's not it's disdain. It's
Yeah.
disdain. And it's disdain and it's anima. If I want to if I this is the same thing in America. The John Gottman who studied marriages, and he says that if you have disdain for, like, you can get through basically anything, but if you start to have disdain for your husband or your wife,
It's
like, the
over.
marriage is done.
It's done.
It's
Yep.
like that's the thing that you can't have.
Like
You
you're
can't
holding
have
them
that.
in contempt. Like you're
Contempt.
yeah,
Sorry,
contempt. Yeah.
he uses
Yeah.
the word contempt
Yeah.
in his research, and it's contempt.
Same as
Like,
disdain. Yeah.
sure.
Basically.
But
Yeah.
the word that he uses is contempt, and if you have, and that is, I think maybe that's the right word to use. That we're circling on that word is the right word is don't have contempt for your customer. And everybody will say, I don't have contempt for my customer. And then you ask the question, are you helping them to get where you promised to take them? And if the answer is, there are a few different answers that you could give to that question, which is, we never promised to get them anywhere. Problem. That,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
fix that.
Yeah.
Solve that problem. We are getting them where, if you're getting them where you promised to take them, good, great. Like, your business should be growing at that point. Or if you're like, no, we're not delivering on our promises, like, now you have an execution gap. Like, fill that execution, do the thing, be like the Amish guy, throw out your TV. You don't actually have to throw out your TV, but do the activity that you think is uncomfortable to get you to the place where you ought to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, dude, I could talk to you for hours. Let's land this by talking about you and how I mean, obviously you're super well read. You've been experienced in this, but you're also a brand builder yourself. I mean, you got a ton of followers on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a big platform for you, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has been, yeah.
And so I talk about that kind of in what we're doing. And I am writing a book, another one of those leadership books, but it's not about leadership. It's more about my personal stories that, I do think there's wisdom and experience in the older we get.
For
I
sure.
think we've forgotten about that as a society as well.
Totally,
And
totally.
I simply have been on the earth longer than some other people. And I think there's some value in that. It's sort of like why we do SOPs at businesses. Get out of Tom or Sherry's or Brenda's or Jay's head what's in there so we can use that knowledge. It's like that's not how it works either, by the way. You can't just write out of Jay's head. You got to have a conversation with Jay or
Yes.
Sharon or Thomas. That's why I love podcasting, by the way, because you can actually pull some wisdom out. But I'm reading the book, or writing the book. It's actually already done. It's in editing. But the point is, a concept in there that I talk about a lot is brand. And everybody comes to us and says, I want to build a brand. I want to be this brand. And I always say that's really the feeling customers have. Not a logo, not a color scheme, not a fancy swirl on your shirt. It's how do you feel when you talk to this business or interact or send any documents or look at your marketing stuff. It's that feeling you get, sort of like what we talked about with Chick-fil-A. They don't have is their sandwich good? Yeah, but it's a freaking processed chicken sandwich that you can buy at any other restaurant.
Totally.
So what about you and building a brand? Obviously it's important to you. And I'm guessing you talk about this with your clients as well. And is it because somebody told me this a long time ago, if you don't build your brand, somebody's going to do it for you?
Yeah, well, that's true. The other thing is, whatever I don't like to think about myself as a brand because I'm a person. And so I think that we've over rotated a little bit. I'm not a brand. I have some thoughts, and hopefully some of those resonate with the people that I'm
Yeah.
trying to give them to, because my business existence is to serve marketers better and to help CEOs, CMOs, and the rest of the C-suite articulate the way that they go to market in a better way that helps improve their business, that helps increase what they do, and to help them do exponential different work in the world. And so I think about it that way, and if as long as I am fulfilling that, then I deserve the paid attention that I get. And if I don't do that, don't deliver on that, then I don't deserve people to pay attention to me. So I guess in the same way, it's similar to a brand, but it's slightly different. I think the other thing that I think about from a marketing perspective, like why is marketing valuable? And reminds me of like Ludwig von Mises. When von Mises writes in Human Action, he writes about he's writing about the value of marketing in the world, and he says that if you're at a nice restaurant and you have bent forks, and the food is excellent, but the kitchen's fantastic, the product is great, and you have bent forks and sewage in the dining room, like no one's coming to that restaurant.
You're not going.
The problem with that restaurant is not the food. Like if you improve the food, you fire the cook and hire a new cook, and we see people do this all the time in business. They fire the cook, hire a new cook, and then they expect that, well, the product will deliver. But your dining room still smells bad, and the utensils are dirty and out of shape. If you have that, like, you need to clean up the dining room, and you need to get better silverware. And if you do that, then then the food will be successful. So we're creating what we're trying to do in category design, and we didn't really talk a ton about that today, but we
Well, talk about it. Go ahead. I want you to talk about it, because why not? Yeah, bring it up.
So category design is creating the atmosphere, is the creation of the atmosphere around the product, which helps people understand why the product is so great. And so most marketing fails because it doesn't take the time to create an environment that helps the product to succeed. So I need context to understand why your product matters to me. I need context to care. And then I need context to carry me forward into the future. And if I don't have that context, if you don't take the time to lay down that context for me, then all of a sudden we're going to get into a very weird world where you're telling me how great your product is, and I don't even understand how to use it. And so most technologists, because they're builders, think that once they've built something, people will automatically understand the value that they've created. And that is never true. I don't know one product that has succeeded because it came into the market and delivered such value. There's far more examples of products that people didn't really understand how they might use it. See and Spray is a great example of this, actually. Like, See and Spray was not the first to do what they're doing, and that might rub people the wrong way. Okay, like, all right, there's all this patented technology. Yeah, okay. But Weed It had the capability of doing that earlier on. But Weed It totally laid an egg with the way that they marketed it. They didn't talk about it. Now, Weed It is forced to have See and Spray conversations because everybody knows See and Spray.
Yeah, it's the Kleenex of
Like,
yeah, exactly.
how bad that must hurt that team. And I know them a little bit, and so I know that it does. Like, it bugs them to their core because we were first. It's like,
that was our idea.
it
Yeah.
doesn't matter because you didn't create the context for the product to succeed inside of. And so what we do in category design is we build systems that allow us to deliver value to our customers. We build the context around the product that helps it to succeed because Victor Hugo has a great quote. He said, "There is nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come." And in category design, what we do is we create the context to make the product's time now.
Yeah.
And like that, what that means is tying it into these waves, because a lot of people look at products and they're like, well, I just need to make a better product. I need to improve the operations for a farmer. No, what you need to do is you need to look at what are the waves that are starting to that are starting to build out in the ocean right now for agriculture. And the waves that are coming, like we can talk about autonomy and all those things and why autonomy matters and why it's important, and we can all these types of things. But if you don't tie I'll just use autonomy as an example of this. If you don't tie your autonomy product to a wave that is building momentum right now and attach it to the front of that with a reasonable story that helps people tie together why your thing is going to help them achieve this outcome, then you're just going to create a robot that you'll ship to 100 people, and then you'll go out of business in a few years and someone's going to buy your IP. And that is the reality of most of the autonomy programs that have existed today, is like they haven't really sold anything. The ones that have sold something, the ones that have delivered some value, they have tied it to an outcome that can be delivered for their customer. They have tied it to a problem to be solved, and they've tied it to this wave that's moving that's larger than the organization. And so when we talk about category design, what we're trying to do is we're trying to inculcate our customer into a way of thinking that helps them understand why this thing has to be on their farm, why it has to be in their business, why it has to be something that they're using now. And so we create this entire system with this process, as opposed to having a conversation which is, ours does it 4% better, ours does it, we'll yield you 6% more. Right, like it's it's asinine, because no one's laying in bed at night saying, I need 5% more yield. What they're saying is, like, I need to be able to send my kids to college. We need 5 more people, and we can only find 3. Like, we have these huge problems that farmers like are sitting with, going to bed with at night, and we're trying to solve the problem of, we're going to be incrementally better than the product that you're already using, and it's just not good enough. It just doesn't deliver enough of a reason. The switching cost is too high at that point. Why would I switch for 4% better? Well, here's the reason that you would, but fine, don't switch for 4% better. Switch for a new system which allows you to achieve an outcome that solves real problems in your life.
Yeah.
And that's what we do.
And that, I mean, I thought of, even tie it all in with the singer-songwriters and the Kirk Ferentz description, and,
Yeah.
even the Amish. It's like, the book that I'm writing is actually, it's called The Wake, because I think it, like the
Ooh, I like
wake
it.
of a boat. Yeah. What you do in your life matters, and you got to be responsible for that wake, because those waves are going to build momentum somewhere, and better make them good. You can control kind of a little bit what that momentum is going to be. And the reality of it is if you're a songwriter and you have the daily habits of, I don't know, writing in a journal, or it's no different than if you're a sales guy and your daily habits, or whatever they are, create some of those. And if you're the songwriter, you're writing these songs, and then you have to promote them right off the bat. If you're Bob Dylan, you've got to say, hey, I'm Bob Dylan, and I'm going to sing you a few of my songs. But
Yes.
after a while, the audience is going to start singing the times they are changing right back to you, man.
Totally.
And that's where you grow, and that's how you build, and that's how you differentiate, and that's how you use art to be this genius marketer, because you're not doing any of the work. Your customers are. They're promoting it on the top of mountains and singing your songs back to you, because they're like, this is a great product. Don't forget, you have to create great products. Don't just create great ideas. A great product or a great service matters, and a
Yes.
great song matters, and a great way to teach in college football programs matters. And, putting yourself around people that understand these concepts, like Dan and your team, matters. Don't just put an ad out there and say, I need to hire a new marketing person. It's not going to work. We're beyond those times. You've got to surround yourself with people. I don't care how you pay them, or if it's W-2 or 1099, or if you write them a check. The point is, you have to surround yourself with people that actually execute. And, proof is in the pudding, I say. It's a stupid saying, but it's so true. We can prove it to you. I'll show you. Watch. This is how it's done. Instead of the $200,000 a year C-suite marketing person that really is just regurgitating the same ideas that ChatGPT or Grok is telling them to do,
Yep.
I don't know.
No,
That's
you're 100%. Can I say one?
Of course,
to tie
man.
together
Fire away.
some of the pieces of what you just said. What we need to do is create remarkable things, because remarkable things get talked about. So we need to create something,
Yes.
something that is built to spread. So yes, what you do, what you say is far less important than what people say about you as a
100%.
brand.
Yep.
The most important thing is what people say about you. But how do you build something that is remarkable and then provide the language with which to understand that gets it shared? So things are the way that they are because somebody made them that way, right? Like, that is the thing. One of the things that you have to understand. It's not just because they happened. It's not just because it evolved this way. It's because somebody took the
Somebody had a
time.
process to do it. Yes.
Somebody
Yes.
took the
Exactly.
time to design this in a particular way.
Yep.
And unfortunately, we've fallen out. That's fallen out of fashion. Is like, what am I going to create this with intention that gets it remarked upon and shared? And if it doesn't, then what are we doing here? Like, what are we actually doing here? What matter? Why does this matter? What are we creating? Because ultimately, marketing is the change that we make on behalf of our customer to help them make a change that they want to make, to help them rewrite a story that is in their mind that helps them improve their life in a way that they want to, right? Like, we do things as we are a service-oriented business, and like every good business is, because we
Yep.
deliver an outcome that our customer really wants, really needs. And if the other thing is, like, if we're going back to the remarkable idea, like, it has to be, I have conversations all the time with people. I seeing very, very, very smart venture capitalists that I was meeting with, and this individual was saying to me, we're on a board for a particular company, and she was saying, like, I think that we should do field signs. I was like, yeah. She's like, what do you think? What do you think of field signs? And I was like, what, field signs? Okay, yeah. I mean, like, see them everywhere. They're great. But my question back was, what is somebody going to say about the product once they see the field sign? Like, if you have this product installed in your operation and you had a field sign about it, and your neighbor drives up and they say, hey, I saw that you've got the sign for, XYZ company. What are you doing with them? And they say, nah, I don't know. We're really just trying it out.
Yeah.
No, that
No.
field
Yeah.
sign is less valuable to you than if you had never created it.
Yep.
You might as well have not created it and built it. But if they say something, if they have a remark to give about it that makes it provocative and interesting, and they have language to describe, which you've given them, to describe the product in a way that they'll actually communicate to their neighbor. Like, the biggest problem in marketing is that no one plans for word of mouth. I have looked at probably 1,000 marketing plans in my career at this point. And in all 1,000, I can tell you that not one of them has mentioned how we are going to create and cultivate, curate, and promote word of mouth marketing. And
Yeah.
that's everything that we do. All the
It's
other
all-
stuff is noise.
It's so true. Yeah. And think about if you don't know what your customers are saying about you, how dangerous that is. If you think you know, but you have no idea, oh my gosh, man, you're in deep trouble, because
Yes.
you're like, oh, no, they think we're this and that. Actually, that's not true at all. They think they think you're not a technology company. You're a whatever. You're better off teaming up with another technology to come up. If you only knew these things, oh my gosh, and you have to understand that, and have to, You have to know what they're saying. You have to know what they're talking about. Everybody's talking these days. That's all these social platforms are. It's just people talking and talking. And you can really, you got to get a hold of that. You got to pay attention to that, or otherwise, what do you, like, to your point, what are you putting a sign out for if you have no idea what if
Yeah.
it's reacting to somebody or not? What's the point? You just wasted time making the sign and sticking it out there. Who cares?
That's right. Products and services that are shared win. Design it to be shared.
Yes.
That's
Dude.
yeah, 100%.
You are this is great, man. I say this to some.
I appreciate it. It's a fun
I
meeting.
don't say it to all, but I want to have you back on because we could go down a lot of different rabbit holes here, and interesting
do it.
minds. Let's do it. Interesting minds to me are interesting, so let's do that. Dan Schultz, the company is, say the company name again.
Schultz Collaborative.
Schultz Collaborative, SCHULTZ. I'm going to put it in the show notes as well. So I'm telling you, everybody out there, don't spend money on recruiting and all the things until you have a conversation with Dan. Dan and his team, I mean, it's proven. The proof is in the pudding. He shows it. He proves it. He executes. He's an executor. There's not many left in the world, but him and his team are. So look him up out there on the web. I'll put your links out there, Dan. Anything else you want to say to the audience? How to follow you? How to get in touch with you?
You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm on there pretty frequently, and if you can follow Ag Done Different is a newsletter that some people have followed in the industry, and so super grateful for them to be on that journey with us there.
All right, my brother. Well, listen, God bless you. Thank you so much for doing this, and everybody out there listening, thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Reach driven leaders with the Germinate Podcast. Sponsor our show to align your brand with actionable insights and purposeful growth. Contact us today at embosales.com/podcast. That's www.embosales.com/podcast to partner and inspire our growing audience of professionals. Hey folks, thanks for tuning into the Germinate Podcast. If you found value in today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with others in the industry. And join me next time as we continue to explore the innovations and strategies shaping the future of agriculture and business. Until then, keep growing, keep innovating, and keep germinating your success.